welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting into the second match of the day here live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. My name is Semler. With me is Hex.
As always.
As always. Big shock. Big shock. The Hex is standing here next to me. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. We have some matches today. That last match was really interesting. I knew it was over once Houston had to go play on Route 66. It's not been a great map for them, but they show signs of improvement. This Atlanta team, as the guys previously mentioned, could be a stunner going into the playoffs. And we've got some teams with a lot to play for still yet today to play.
They've been looking great. They've been looking great. But we'll take a look at the standings here for the season. As far as the standings are concerned, Toronto Defiant, they've got their work cut out for them. Hex, by that, I mean, it's a 0.38% chance that they make top 12, let alone get to the playoffs.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance, exactly. You're saying there's a chance.
They're sitting at 18 right now, trying to avoid the red tag sale going on with the teams right below them and get eliminated. But the Defiant need to win everything. A team with a much more, well, I guess, realistic chance would be the Philadelphia Fusion, their opponents today.
That's the Fusion, the Philadelphia Fusion. They're already in the top 12. They've come off their first win of the stage. They've been looking hot. Carpe is starting to find himself, perhaps, because we have seen him kind of struggle on the Widow. He was waiting so long to get to play damage dealers, to get to play Overwatch in his terms, in his words, right? And now, it seems like he's finally coming into his own.
They're coming off a big win, and also they're going to map 5s again, which is a little bit concerning because this Philadelphia team, the issue always with them, going to last year to this year, is that they kind of play down to their opponents a lot. Yeah. But, you know, last year they got hot at the right time and ended up making a grand finals. So can you ever count them out?
They were top 2 in last season, so that's the thing. Philadelphia, just like London, they kind of came into it at the end, stage 4. This year, though, kind of wondering. London, they're looking a little weak in the weeds right now. Lost to Florida Mayhem yesterday. It wasn't exactly the prettiest match for them.
Right? I don't know.
I mean, not that we need to talk about London. That's not exactly
no.
Playing next.
Let's talk about another team that's also not from America or the United States of America. In Toronto, that they are building for next year. You'd have to think they're building for next year. They made a lot of changes throughout the year, and as an expansion team, I think that's smart. You follow your management and you try to have a vision. Mangachu and Logix have come onto this roster. They added new tank lines during the year. They still have this back support line, so they're just looking towards next year, I think, realistically, unless you really want to start betting on a 0.38% chance to make the playoffs.
Think of the odds, though, Hex. Think of the payoff.
I know.
You could put $1 on that and come out rich. You know, just be like, oh, I'm buying the drinks tonight. It's all good, boys. At the finals, that would be amazing. But, you know, there you go. That's how it stands. Toronto Defiant, they got their work cut out for them. The coaching staff obviously working hard to try and figure out what a solution could be. They are trying to make moves. Mangachu, Logix, you know, they're trying to make moves to get the team to a decent place.
And it's a good meta for him, right? Yeah. So I think that's a matchup that you can look at in this Toronto team. I believe they just beat Shanghai. There's a lot of Overwatch that happens, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And they do it just based on, because we talked about yesterday, there's carry potential now, that if you have a guy who just is hitting 80% critical shots, probably not going to lose that game. You're just probably not.
Turns out hammers are pretty cool too. You've got the title holder, world-class Torb on your team now as well. Let's go Mangachu. But we're going to go ahead and get their opponents out onto the stage now. It is going to be the Philadelphia Fusion.
Philadelphia Fusion's going to be rocking their third kit again. I guess they are the ones in charge of the rules today, not the ones behind them. They look good. They're kind of growing on me right now, but this is a team that we thought maybe benefits the most from the 2-2-2 roll lock. They can get Carpe and EQO back to their old form, and it's taken them a little bit to get back to their old form, but we mentioned this is a team got to the finals, and it's mostly the same team.
I'm just a bit disappointed in Poco. I think him shaving the stash, that was the downfall.
Critical mistake.
That was a critical mistake leading up. That's right. I'm talking about you, Poco. Shaved him. Shaved the stash, man. That was the stash of power. It made all the difference, and since it's gone, I think the team has been struggling. But, you know, the team that's going to benefit from that, Hex, it's going to be their opponents. We're going to get them out onto the stage now, the Toronto Defiant.
This is a team very much like Atlanta that made a big splash earlier in the year, started coming in as an expansion franchise. It kind of fell apart a little bit for them, but they're making changes. And I've always said that is if you're a fan of one of these teams, maybe in the bottom 8 of the league, at least you have to be happy when your team's doing something, right? It's so frustrating that if your team keeps losing and they're not signing players, they're not starting guys who are on the bench maybe, that it's really frustrating to watch. But also you have to think about, because Toronto has been so flexible and fluid in their rosters, these guys are playing for their starting positions.
They are, exactly. They've got that roster in mind, and well, I mean, it's whoever stands out now. That can be a detriment, though. That can hurt your gameplay, because if you've got guys trying to make plays nonstop and they're not thinking about the team, we have seen this hurt teams in the past.
Right.
You got guys trying to take over the game. I got to do it all, and eventually that actually hurts the team more than it helps.
I got to put down this tape. I got to be the one who carries it, right? You can play a little over-aggressive, and at its very core, Overwatch is still a team game.
Exactly. I mean, the game is balanced to actually eliminate the carry potential. We do get freaks out here like Erster, who can still nearly get an ace.
Well, but I wasn't going to use the word, but a couple of freaks on our screen right here. Carpe was considered probably the best Widow in the league last year as far as consistency and that carry potential. I still always think of, when I think of these two, the 2v6 on Night Market they were able to pull off, like just hitting everything. EQO is going to be able to run projectile here. Carpe can pick it up, the Hanzo. So I think for them, it's just about putting these guys in position to be ultra successful, and they've had a slower transition in adjusting to the new meta.
They've been lagging behind, but listen, it's like they squeaked into this playoffs last season. They just barely made it, and then they made the finals.
Yeah.
So this is a team, so long as they make the playoffs, anything is possible.
Right. Can you think about if they make the finals, though? Because it would be a Philly homestand for the finals. Our finals will be in Philadelphia this year. That would be
We got one excited Philly fan. He's already booked his tickets to get out there.
Good for him.
Let's take a look at our map set presented by Toyota. Kicking things off, as always, it will be Control. We will have these 4 maps minimum. So Lijiang will be kicking things off.
Yeah, it's on Control, and you never really know what teams are running. We've moved to a meta that's very Reaper-centric, very Mei-centric, but there's been a lot of variety as well. I would like to see Carpe on McCree. Of course, the actual round we land on is going to be the one that kind of dictates this as well. So we'll see what either of these teams want to run. The Fusion with a pretty bad record on this map at 0-2, and the Defiant 1-2. The only thing I can say with pretty high certainty is this one's probably going to 5. Not because of either of these teams' skill level, just because that's what Philly does.
Yeah, that's it.
They're entertainers.
You put it out there at the beginning, Hex. They're a gritty team, but they also tend to play to the level of their opponents.
Yeah.
If they're
whether
playing
that's
against a world-class team,
or whether that's bad.
They're playing against a world-class team. Oh man, they're just making plays left and right, and it's a super competitive game. They're playing to a team that's sitting more towards the bottom of the pack, and all of a sudden Philadelphia starts to make mistakes that they wouldn't otherwise. So we'll see which Philadelphia is going to tune up today. Is it going to be the dominant force? We've already seen a little bit of a change here with Carpe swapping over to the Reaper. We have been seeing more Reaper play in Stage 4. Comes as a shock, and I know Malik is just rubbing his hands together. Pure joy on his side.
Philadelphia running pretty much what I'd call a standard composition now. The biggest variation in this standard composition is if you're going to run a D.Va or a Roadhog with it, but this is what most teams have been running out. A giant anti-nade takes down Neptuno.
Unbelievable. How do they survive that? There we go. Shrake goes down. That needed to happen there after a perfect Mei wall that cut that team in half. To not be able to get a kill out of that is shameful. Carpe taking a bullet to the face. Logix, though, now you're going to be put on notice. Get out of here. You need to get 1-for-1 on that one.
Well, that's what we talk about, these guys trying to make enormous plays. Logix just goes out on the flank. I suppose the only other option to where the position he was in was just to jump off the cliff. So he goes for a trade, maybe you end up 1 or 2, and you put your team in position to get back into the fight. He's going to switch off of it now, going over to the Reaper. This close quarters combat has been the name of the game of Overwatch in Stage 4.
Holds hook, and well, exactly, that has been it. So you get those shotguns in, you get the window pane up as well. So a bit of additional damage getting thrown in there thanks to the Batista ultimate, but we do have the Lantern that is down. Eventually, they will eliminate it. Solid work there on the side of Philadelphia Fusion. You need to prioritize the Lantern, the Immortality field, otherwise nothing dies.
Yeah, everything gets very low, but with the healing output of these teams, then you're generally able to heal those things up. The Blizzard wins them that fight. Let's see what the economy looks like for Philadelphia as they're already at 62% and counting up. We'll be able to maybe get the classic Poco Bomb in here, at least to clear out some space. Also a Supercharger and nearing a Death Blossom. Supercharger Death Blossom seems unfair.
It can be really, really, really painful. Mangachu, he's got that wall down. Once again, the wall going down, making life difficult here for the Toronto Defiant, trying to get onto the point. Another Blizzard going down, not a Blizzard, but doing it the hard way. We will get the Blossom. Logix comes up with 2, but that's not enough to make it work here for Philadelphia Fusion.
Too little, too late. And a Blizzard did go down. It went down Poco's throat because he was able to eat it up early on.
I'm pretty sure I heard something there. So
yeah.
Neptuno, no, wait.
On this flank. They're already concerned about the wall. Neptuno just comes around and snags a couple.
No, now Poco's
this Toronto team is disjointed on the attack. Half of them are in, half of them are out.
But you got the healers hanging outside right now, trying to, well, just keep their team up at range. That's going to be tough, though. Logic's in that immortality field. You got to focus it down. Logic's living so long right now. Way past the expiration date. He's gone, finally. And you will still have Philadelphia Fusion keeping it together. EQO looking to get the elimination. Not quite going to be able to drop Shrink fast enough. And a couple of kills coming through here now for the Toronto Defiant at the very end.
There should be enough for Toronto to at least put some points on the board here. There was an enormous play earlier where Neko was able to sleep Neptuno, trying to sound barrier, trying to get it off. He got slept, he got killed. And Neko is still a playmaker for this team. We've been thinking so much about the damage dealers, but he's been the reason that Toronto was even able to get wins early in the season. So nice play from him, but Toronto has to be perfect if they want this first point.
Yeah, your Ana play is so important. It's true that you need to be able to focus on it, the sleeps, the bio-nades, those are the big ones. Mines everywhere, and they're just going to get blown up here on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, so a reset.
Neptuno playing with fire again. Able to get one on his way out, but so low. And that's always kind of been the gambit from the Philadelphia backline. You know, they're aggressive players, they get like big risk, big reward stuff. Neptuno used to be the assassin on the Mercy, of course. Boombox always went for peeking flanks, and then they've had to adjust to play a little more passive.
Well, a little bit of a trap set. Of course, people are checking corners. Nope, not a thing in Overwatch to check corners. It seems to keep getting punished. So this will eventually cost him. A blizzard goes down. That's going to just cut everybody off. Mangachu having the time of his life. EQO gonna get blown up. A solid fight here for the Toronto Defiant. Philly, you gotta check left and right. Come on, didn't your mom tell you that when you were growing up?
The only one crossing the street, apparently not walking into very small rooms that can be cut off with Maywalls. Philadelphia in a decent spot right now. They have to wait for Poco here to wake from his slumber. But they've got ultimates to use. Gods has self-destruct, Aid has the window, the amplification matrix. That's it for Toronto, but we're in single fight territory now.
Yeah, they've done a great job of running it back here. Toronto Defiant. Solid defense. EQO looking to get up close right now. Yep, self-destruct is up. No D-Matrix to eat the Blizzard, so he's going to go ahead and throw that down. Shrink will eventually get frozen, and he can get focused down. Solid fight so far here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They played it patient, and now it's just working out wonderfully for them. That's Blossom goes in, and that's Logix who's going to get wiped out. And the Toronto Defiant, they have anybody here who can contest. Maybe Shrink can make it in time.
Maybe, and they need to buy enough time for Mangachu to get back in here and maybe chuck his Blizzard in, maybe try to bring this one back. It comes over the top, they get the Blizzard down, but no follow-up right now.
Oh, Carpe getting healed!
Healed and living in the Matrix right there allows you to dodge bullets.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Poco just a hair too late there to eat that Blizzard, but in the end, Philadelphia, they played it patient, they didn't get flustered, and they got the job done. 1-0 lead for them so far on the map.
The penultimate fight was really interesting because had Mangachu lived through that, he would have gotten the Blizzard down and maybe been able to equalize things. He died with 97%, and that's just because Philadelphia did a really good job of closing the distance. I mean, when you have these mirrored compositions and you need to get in and there's a wall, it's all about closing the distance, whether it's a wall of your own, whether it's a Lucio boost, whether it's a halt to bring someone close to you. But these are close quarters fighters who don't really have range. And EQO just went in, went super aggressive, tossed his Blizzard down, probably the difference in the fight.
Now going into the second point now, do we have any changes? Logix is just sticking to the Doomfist immediately here. So that's a little bit of interesting. And while as far as Philadelphia is concerned, they seem to want to stick to this strategy. Carpe on the Reaper, EQO on the May.
Logic's on Doomfist, 7 deaths, 7 final blows. About what you'd expect from your Doomfist.
Yeah. Get in there, blow somebody up, and die. And look at that. Right there. Trying for it, doesn't quite get the range though. And oh, he's gonna get halted back in. Carpe right now. There to capitalize. Great teamwork here on the side of Philadelphia Fusion. Playing off of those tank abilities. That's the beauty of Orisa. You get that grab on cooldown. Bring him in for the pain. And yeah, well, once again, Philadelphia, first control.
Yeah, Logix goes off of the Doomfist, now over to the Reaper. It does put you behind in this small war of Death Blossoms right now as teams still adjust to the meta and trying to keep track of ultimates. It can be a little more difficult in this meta than it was in the 3-3 meta.
Indeed.
A little behind it now. Echo's got the boost. Wonder who he gives it to. Use some speed.
I think was he trying to give it to the Logics there on the Reaper? That could have been the play. Instead, it's Sharik getting it, who's going to be, it's going to make him a little bit tankier. But I mean, your Orisa's not going to crank out the kind of damage that you're hoping for there. So, tough break, and well, it's going to be a hands-down one fight here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They got out of dodge quick on the side of the Defiance at least, so they won't be giving up more, but that's 43% and counting now for Philly.
They get chased out. Not terrible. They still have some ultimates online. Does Toronto here going forward. And remember, in our first point, this was about the time that Philadelphia started getting rocked, and Toronto pulled it all the way back to an 80 to 99 situation. So, still anything can happen here. You just start. You need to get the opening pick here if you're Toronto. Nice wall.
Yeah, EQO. That's what the Mei. We're seeing a lot of the Mei here, not using the Mei to just cut the team up, also using that wall to just play defensively. Blizzard on Blizzard action right now, just carpeting the entire point, but we got a sound barrier from Aid, and that's going to make the difference here for the Toronto Defiant. Neptuno went down, and so we will not have the Philly Fusion using anything more in this fight. They get to come in here with the support ultimates online, though, on the side of Philly, so this is going to be a bit of a dicey hold here for Toronto.
I mean, Sound Barrier's good. It's especially good against Death Blossom here as well. No Diva on the side of Toronto Defiant, so Carpe should be able to find some pretty good purchase. The only thing Carpe super has to avoid with a Death Blossom here is maybe getting hooked during it, or Logic's being able to kill him before he can, but that's unlikely.
That's the CC that we've got, but there it is. Wall to block him. Looking for it. This is going to be straight in. Oh, doesn't hesitate. Or he does hesitate, rather. The D-Matrix was there from Poco to cover Carpe, but he doesn't go for the Blossom. Forcing them back. Wall goes up to try and block the Defiant in. Logic's got picked up already, so I'm waiting to see when does Carpe go for it. Carpe just trying to force it now. Wins the duel versus Aid, and eventually it works out, but that looked kind of janky there.
A little bit, but I think the call was made that Logic's was behind them. Because if you saw Carpe just flip that script, do a 180, and just run face first into Logic's, and when your team loses the main damage dealer in the composition, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to get the kills that they need. Now Toronto in a really bad spot, has to touch.
Do manage it, just barely get there in time, but they got to stick it together here. All six still alive here for Toronto. God's on the edge. Logic's not going to get it. He gets shut down by Carpe when he goes for the Blossom. We've lost the main tank, though, and this is a big fight coming in here for Toronto Defiant. They may be able to pull this off. 3 kills for them. Surely this is going to be them turning this point around once again at the end. 99%, just like the last point. Philly can't quite get it locked down.
Yeah, everything committed. Logic's has fallen to Carpe yet again, but Carpe does die late here thanks to Mangachu. Mangachu, the projection specialist here, and being able to commit both Death Blossom and Blizzard in that last fight probably saved Toronto Defiant from losing this first map quite easily. But the problem is now,
wow,
EQO's going to come in with Blizzard. Ada's barrier again. It saved him one fight. Can he do it again?
But Neptuno's about to get theirs online. I mean, this is going to be very even in terms of support ultimates. That might make or break this. Carpe, he's getting closer to the Blossom, but he doesn't quite have it yet. He's not going to be afraid of just running in there face first, looking for shotgun shots. And yep, EQO right now, worried about feeding it. Can you get the team back on Gods? That could be fake Gods! Not going to have it! So the Blizzard gets thrown down for free. Mangachu caught. He no longer has an ice block to hide in, so he's going to be pinned to the wall, eliminated by Poco. And Philadelphia Fusion right now looking fantastic. When it's coming down to it, they're getting the job done. They will be taking this map 2-0. There's only going to be, what, Neko and Sharik who can contest, and it's just not going to be for long. Sharik's there alone. Focus Fire is too good, and the Philadelphia Fusion take the first map of the series here versus the Toronto Defiant.
The big difference there being Death Blossom kills. Carpe got 10 Death Blossom kills, a single one for Logic's. But is it looking outstanding? Because Toronto just went really to the end of a first map against our number 18 ranked team. Or, excuse me, Philly did.
Philly did, yeah. It's getting a bit, they're getting the job done, Hex. It seems to me like it's very measured on their side. They're confident, they know what they need to do. We're gonna see how it all pans out here on the second map after the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
So here you have it, the fans, they've shown up to cheer for the Fusion, who will be having that homestand. That is a fascinating way to clap your hands.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not going to make a lot of noise, but I like you're making the effort.
It's the thought that counts. But yeah, get your tickets to the grand finals. We're going to go to Philly. Philly, the team, wants to be playing there, wants to join their brethren, the Sixers, 76ers, and the Flyers, who very much have a similar design as the Philadelphia Fusion in that arena. They want to be at the finals. It's a team that's always scary because, like I said, they can go toe-to-toe with the best. They definitely go toe-to-toe with the worst, which is why their record is nearly 500.
This guy used to dominating the worst. Hexit isn't always on Carpe, but he does seem to be coming into his own now that the meta is playing to his strengths. He finished that last map with 19 final blows.
Which is so much more than anybody else.
Yeah, he was running amok.
The second closest is Mangachu with 9.
Yeah, I mean, well, they nearly doubled their final blows, Philadelphia Fusion. Toronto Defiant, they made it close in terms of winning the fights, but they weren't getting the kills to really dominate the way that Philly did on that first map. So we'll see how it pans out here on the second map of our series. It's going to be going down on Volskaya.
Yeah, and a lot of it was being able to set up the ultimates. He had so many of those Death Blossom kills, 10 Death Blossom kills, so that means that they're making sure that Gods is not there to hook him. Gods had a very quiet round there, even on the Roadhog, not getting the halt hook combination
I think
to
it's
look
the
for.
hat. I think it's the hat.
Maybe.
You know, it's he runs on solar energy. You know,
Yeah.
he's blocking his source
Powered
of power
by
there.
Earth's yellow sun, of course. Well, now that we go to Volskaya, the Fusion are looking to break a pretty bad map record here at 1-5. The Defiant, a very aesthetically pleasing 3-2-1.
3-2-1.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's just. It is actually very soothing. You know? It's one of those satisfying things, oddly satisfying things. We're gonna get into the thick of things now. As well, no, nothing crazy coming out of either of these teams. We will have more May, and we will have Widow. Logix, you got your work cut out for you, buddy. Carpe isn't exactly the dominant threat that he was last season, but he's still not somebody you want to be going toe-to-toe with Widow.
Well, your opinion on Logix is that sometimes he's the best Widow and sometimes he's just not even on Widow.
My opinion on Logix?
Yeah.
Well, in terms of damage in general, that's my opinion of Logix. But you know, Logix, he's got time to prove himself.
Right.
He was just inconsistent. I don't think it was in terms of mechanical skill last season. I think it was more in terms of the mental game. That
well, he was also,
kind of,
you know, maybe not on the best team for him at the time as well. That can affect a player a lot. But the duel begins. Carpe has to back out.
Going for it. Now he's got the angle. If you peek into that, you're going to be a very sad panda. Oof, timing. So a little bit of a poke forward here on the side of the Philly Fusion, just figuring it out. We're going to get the window pane down now here from Neptuno. Very quick to get that ultimate online. And yep, used for the push. Sado cut off perfectly here, though, by Mangachu. That wall, impeccable timing, removes the main tank, and that's pretty much going to just stop the Philly Fusion push in its tracks.
Yeah, Mangachu has been really good in this very small sample that we've seen today of getting the walls up exactly where they need to be. Even on Lijiang Tower, especially on the garden section of Lijiang Tower, he was getting very good walls. It just didn't work out for the Toronto Defiant, but it was close. I would also like to see some of these halts and hooks hit from some of these mid-tier to lower-tier teams. It seems like the top teams on the meta right now have that figured out, where you're hitting 70% hooks because you're getting halts.
Yeah.
If your hult's not hooking, then you're not going to get hooks, or if your hult's not hitting, you're not going to hit hooks. That's a weird, strong sentence.
You're going for a bit of a tongue twister there, mate.
Yeah.
But I admire it.
I'm just going to avoid it. Mangachu dies early here. Mangachu dies early, so it forces out ultimates being used. Supercharger especially. And now there's no wall. Billy can walk in.
Still waiting for Carpe to get on the board here. We bigged him up a little bit there going into this, but so far it's looking a little grim. He needs to find that first shot. Well, take off the nerves on that Widow.
To be fair, we've got a soccer score on the board as far as final blows go right now. So a nice hook there, takes down Carpe.
Felt like he needed, Neko felt like he needed to throw the trance in here on this one. That might cost him because you have EQO just hunting him down. Gonna get that Blizzard into the corner, messing around, not really letting the Toronto Defiant have anywhere safe to hide because now he's gonna go right over the top. EQO on a mission right now to ruin these Squishy's days. Headshot and the follow-up. Logic showing him how it's done.
Well, everyone on a mission to ruin both respective ultimate economies there. Everyone tossed in everything at the end because it was so scrappy, because it was like a 3v4 situation. They're like, I don't know, I guess I have to use Blizzard. I guess I have to use that. I have to use this, otherwise we're in trouble here. But it's gonna work out okay for Toronto's defense because there's barely over a minute left, and then Philadelphia made a small change here and there, so.
Well, I like the change I think they need to make is Carpe, get off a Widow. You're still sitting on 2 goose eggs, buddy. No limbs, no final blows. That's not acceptable if you're on a Widow. You need to be having an impact if you're gonna play the sniper. It's the only thing you bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, he's done less than 1,000 hero damage overall, too. Just not finding the angles. Gonna be in trouble for him, though, too, if he doesn't get logics before this infra site comes up.
It's hitting headshots, but on tanks, you need to drop bodies here. Carpe lagging behind, and it's Mangachu right now who's just running amok in the back line, and God's mowing him down. Great play here from the Big Beef tanks. Carpe still just, effect is, he's had 1. Fantastic, and that's it. 25 seconds left on the clock here, Hex.
One while all of your team was down. The only small thing for Philadelphia is that Carpe should be back before Logix, but Logix is going to use Grapple to get back into this fight. Toronto has some defensive ults, maybe. I think you have to start with Window and hope that Neko can hit an orb through it, that Sharik can use it as well to get to these ultimates. Mangachu should have Blizzard too. Carpe's off the Widow.
Again with the wall. Hey, I'll just funnel you in here. Wow, how do you like that? Just a perfect defense coming out here from the Toronto Defiant. Fantastic work from them. No, just no options here for Philadelphia Fusion. 4 kills, Hex. Philadelphia Fusion finished the offense with 4 kills.
Their struggles on Volskaya continue, and it looked simply disastrous. You got to give credit to Mangachu, though, always with the perfect wall there. They stopped those fights before they started. Carpe was never really even a threat, and you saw Toronto kind of ignore it, too. He said, okay, Carpe's over there. That means we're just going to kill everything right here in front of us. The Toronto Defiant, despite covering up God's source of power, looked really good on Volskaya, and we'll see if they can put together an offense when we return.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Special attack.
And we're back with the second half here on Volskaya. Toronto Defiant with a hard hold on the first point. Philadelphia Fusion, Hex, they ran into this guy, and he was just doming everybody. Where was their sniper?
I don't know. I'm not sure he left spawn, but this is what Volskaya used to be as far as the meta game goes, as far as the heroes you wanted to run. It's got a lot of sight lines on first to run a Widowmaker, and you can see just the dominant impact they had. But I thought as a team, Toronto just played a little bit better, a little cleaner.
They did. Toronto right now, it was close on the first map of the series on Control, and here on Volskaya, they're looking fantastic. We'll be back on Disney Thursday as well, guys, so be sure to tune in then for more matches from the Overwatch League. But for now, let's see what the Toronto Defiant are capable of here on the offense on Volskaya, because Philadelphia Fusion, they got a lot of work ahead of them here.
Well, I mean, we talked about Carpe getting goose-egged, but the Philadelphia team as a whole got zero progress on first point. Thus, the Toronto win condition here is just get anything. Get 33% on the point, and they will send us into the halftime tied.
And we may be setting up for that 5th map in the series. I mean, that is really the name of the game when it comes to Philadelphia Fusion. They always seem to want to just take it into the distance. There's Sato, opening it up strong. So how silly would this be? Just total Hong Kong Clown World if we get a draw here. They just both hard hold on Volskaya, and we're going into map 3 where it's like, what is going on?
Well, I think it would at least mean that there wouldn't be a map 5. We would be able to decide it without it, unless we got another draw. I mean, I think it would be silly because I think what all Toronto really needs to do is bank up ultimates, and they've been using ultimates a little bit better. All it's going to take is one Halt and Hook, one Mangachu Wall, one Logic's Pick to really open this up for Toronto, and now that's a really kind of cool move. They're going to try to take the high ground away, but they abandon it immediately.
Once they've cleared it, then all they have to worry about, you got the field down, but still, Poco going to fall. We trade though. Shriek going down here on the defense, or on the offense rather, is gonna set things back. Now Carpe is deciding to wake up. Yep, he knew he was here. Beautiful work. There we go. Now Carpe's starting to turn up here. 2 kills for him.
Well, it was a reset call. Neko was going for the flank there because maybe you're able to take down Carpe, and then you'll have a good position on the swing back kind of fight. You also maybe want to try to get Philadelphia to use ultimates if you can get some pressure on them. Not the case, though. A whole lot of ultimate abilities up for the Philadelphia Fusion. In fact, everybody except Poco. Meanwhile, it's just Mangachu and Neko with their ultimates up for this next fight.
Poco's not on his diva, that's why. We gotta cut him some slack here. He's on the hog.
Fair enough.
Not the usual.
But the good teams have divas who can play hog. Like, that's gonna be, it's gonna be something to track going forward.
It's all about creating the space on your roster for the person time plays. But now, it is still going to be Philadelphia Fusion, and let's see what they're capable of on the defense. And are they patient with their ultimates? They have the advantage. They know they have the advantage. Neko going to use the trance just to survive there, so that's forced out early. Mangachu with the Blizzard on the point, but Philadelphia Fusion cannot afford to give up any room here on the point. They have to contest. 33% is all Toronto Defiant need, but you've lost Logics already here for the Toronto Defiant. A perfect Blizzard gets thrown down here by EQO, one step after the next. And Philadelphia Fusion, they committed 3 ults to the fight, but they hold it perfectly.
EQO, emotional quotient 0, doesn't overreact, understands that they've got time bought for them because the Transcendence is going on the point. A later Transcendence than Toronto was forced to use because of nice hook from Poco. So he just sits around corner, this left corner right there, and just waits. And just waits for their Blizzard to go away, waits for the Transcendence to fade, pops in the perfect Blizzard. The main wall doesn't stop the Blizzard. They get everybody. And now we're below a minute.
We're sub-minute. We're down to 45 seconds. The final push perhaps here for the Toronto Defiant. No room for error now, boys. You got to get on here, and you got to get 33% on this point. It's not even capturing the whole point. Now they've got the positioning here. They know where Logix is coming from. They can all see through walls as well, but it's going to be the whole hog, and Poco gets blown up, atomized. EQO follows as well. Impeccable play coming in here from Toronto Defiant when it mattered most, and it's looking like they're going to get the job done here, Hex. Nobody left to contest. Carpe's gone. Logic's waving goodbye. And with the tactical crouch at the end to cap it off, Toronto Defiant win and tie up the series 1-1.
The amplification matrix and the whole hog is just a delete tool. Everything in front of you is gone at that moment in time. Logix picks up a couple kills uncontested. Carpe at the end goes for Logix just for style because he wasn't pulling that fight back. We're going to be 1-1 at the half, Semler.
Shriek always, I love Shriek's mentality as well. He's just grinning the entire time. The guy just looks like he's loving life up there on the stage. That's exactly what you hope for from a pro. That's what's going to get the job done.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Into the iris.
Team access special attack. Barrier activated. 30 seconds.
Light them up.
Special attack.
Pass into the iris.
The Fusion are trying to get their mojo back in this run to the grand finals, but they got their hands full in this one. They're all even with Toronto at the half. What's up, everybody? Malik here once again. It's halftime, so in Sideshow here. A lot of talk going into this matchup about the Philadelphia Fusion, kind of, dominating the Toronto Defiant. But Toronto Defiant, though, they've been in upset mode lately, and it looks like they're still on that train right now because they got it all tied up here at the half.
I mean, I said Toronto is going to win, and I was so convincing in the... I know that one fan, all right? I hear you, Alex.
Lukewarm, they had to remind you.
I really did. Yeah, no, I had lukewarm feelings about it, but that kind of changed. I do think that Toronto Defiant are actually looking very, very good right now. I love the switch up they're making with putting Sharik in over Yakpeng. I personally think that they're looking a lot better with this kind of lineup.
It was a close one. Let's go ahead and jump into the highlights right now. Now, at Lijiang, there was a pretty much of a show. Kind of reminded me of last year, Grand Finals, Philadelphia Fusion, Carpe and EQO back to their old ways.
And EQO is so intelligent with how he uses these Mei walls. You see there, Halt Hook tried to set up for Toronto Defiant, places the Mei wall. Not only does it disrupt that Halt Hook, but it also cuts off Sharik and sets them up for another team fight win. And he was doing that all throughout this series and setting up Carpe for a huge amount of kills. But it was still honestly pretty back and forth. It wasn't like they dominated, even with EQO playing that well. And I thought that, EQO is the brains of this team, the guy shot calling, and he decides how the team fights work. So if he's playing this well, they should be dominating, honestly. But it wasn't like that.
It wasn't decisive enough for you.
No, but I think Hex explained it really well when he talked about it as it happened. The Fusion were just a little bit more patient. They went in a little bit less aggressive and they picked their fights a little bit more wise, whereas Toronto still looked like, the young guns, the new kids, they just couldn't wait to get into the action. So yeah, it was just a lot more patience from the Fusion.
Still a little bit of timidness from the Toronto Defiant in that first map, but when we went to Volskaya, they full health Philadelphia Fusion there.
Yeah, and that's Philly looking a little bit weird. I mean, normally you set up Carpe to go huge in these maps.
Yeah.
On Volskaya, it's such a sniper-centric map. We see teams running double sniper quite a lot, but the flavor of the month is this Mei with a Widowmaker kind of composition. And as Philadelphia were getting in position, trying to set up Halt Hooks, trying to put Mei walls down, Carpe was just getting nothing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they completely ignored him as well. When they headed on to point B, Carpe was a non-factor, mainly because Toronto just decided to not care. Yeah. They just took different angles and kind of, you know, like, you can play around a Widowmaker as it does force your positioning, since you don't want to peek, you don't want to get caught off. And they placed themselves really cleverly, so that Carpe had to come in on different angles and had to reposition himself a lot more than he usually would. And that just resulted in him not getting those crucial picks for his team, which then resulted in Toronto just kind of rolling over it. And Logix did a fantastic job on the other side, getting those final blows. And yeah, he looked really, really good. He got a lot of space from his team.
Honestly, this is ridiculous as well, because at the end of the first round, it was Logix at 7-1 and Carpe at 1-4. So in some sense, the defense that the Philadelphia Fusion were able to put up made Carpe's numbers look a little bit better than they were. And they already don't look that great.
Right.
So Carpe has to be the player that I'm looking at to step up on the Widow in the second half. He dominated on Reaper when it came to Lijiang, but his Widowmaker has to be able to go toe-to-toe with Logix. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to find traction in the second half.
Yeah, it's crazy. Logix, man, he's definitely been showing up here in this stage. It's just been fun to see him back in the game, man. I love Logix. He's one of my favorite players. I'm over here fanboying. But guys, I want to quiz you a little bit on a little bit of Philadelphia history, going back to last year in their grand finals run, because it was a good run. It was a very memorable one that was very uncanny, unexpected for Philadelphia Fusion.
I hope you're prepared for this.
Got to throw a monkey wrench at you guys. You ready for it?
Long time ago.
All right, so my question to you is, what seed did the Philadelphia Fusion enter the playoffs last season at?
6th.
Is that your final answer?
It was true.
That is correct. That is true.
Yes.
Yeah. That is true. All right.
And London with a 5th seed.
That's the only one I take. You have the rest, but I just lucked out.
Okay, this is going to get a little bit harder, so Blizzard Arena, feel free to help these guys out. They might need it. Which two teams did the Philadelphia Fusion beat to get to the grand finals?
Yeah, Boston here. Thanks.
Wow.
Cheers, Alex.
Don't help him that much.
He's a real super fan. Is he getting out point now, or how does this work?
Yeah.
Yo, Alex, you're excluded. You can't help, all right?
You're out.
That was a nuts run, though, actually, especially the game against New York. Everyone thought New York would be the favorites in that. They stomped.
Yeah, no one, best day of your life. Yeah, no one saw that one coming. All right, moving forward, which of those two teams did the Philadelphia Fusion beat 3-0 in the best-of-3 series?
That's a difficult one. I want to say it was New York that they beat 3-0.
Would you like to use a lifeline? Oh, wait, never mind. You're right.
Ding, so
the production helped you.
That one.
Good. All right, moving along. Which Fusion player won Player of the Match more than once during the playoffs last year on their run to the grand finals?
Carpe, Ikyo, Carpe, Ikyo.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be Carpe. It probably was, right? Yeah,
correct.
Which one was the ding for? Was it Carpe?
They were so good last year.
You guys are doing good. All right. True or false? EQO led all players in hero damage per 10 seconds during the Season 1 playoffs.
Sure, why not? Well, might as well.
Yeah, true. We'll go with true.
I knew that.
Goodness gracious. All right, you guys are killing it.
Damage profit in the playoffs? That's nuts, actually.
All right, next one. Carpe led all players in final blows per 10 during the Season 1 playoffs.
If the first one was true, I'm not feeling the second one. I don't know about this. It's a red
Yeah,
herring.
no,
Don't trust it. Don't trust it.
That's how he gets
That's
you.
too good. That's no.
It's a little misdirection. Wrong. That's actually true. A little misdirection.
I led you wrong.
Yeah, so I trusted you.
No, actually, no. It was false.
No, it was false.
You guys are right.
All right.
All right.
He was
And
second.
Thank God, I trusted you.
He was second only to Pine from the NYXL.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. True or false? Philadelphia is going back to the grand finals this year. There's some Philly fans here who are looking directly at you.
I'm not scared.
What do you think?
Sharp stares.
I mean, you think they're gonna lose to the Toronto Defiant now, so.
That's true. So where are they?
Come on, true or false?
It's a no.
I think that's going to be a false as well. They don't look quite as hot as they did last season, but they only turned it on in the playoffs last season as well, so who knows? They could come online at any point.
That's a non-answer.
It's a boss all over the place.
Lynched.
All right, one more. True or false? The Philadelphia Fusion are going to win this match today.
False.
I think this is a true. I think this is a true.
I gotta go.
Wow. True. All right. So you guys are split down the middle. Well, we're getting ready to find out who is going to win that match because we're all tied up at 1-1 and pretty much are in the second half, 2 maps, and we got a winner. We're going to find out who that is in just a bit. Stay tuned.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
No stopping me.
Got to be kidding. Into the iris.
Cease your resistance. 30 seconds. Cease.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the break. Quick break there, and obviously the halftime show, breaking it all down for us. But Hex, as far as we're concerned, it really does seem to be the Logic's show, at least on Volskaya. The man just dominated Carpe.
Yeah, Logic's had much better stats than Carpe, but your stats are always going to look better when your team wins. Josh was right. They actually ended up padding Carpe's stats in the second half of that map. It was a very brief Volskaya, not the 6-6 kind of things we've seen earlier this year. First point hold. And Philadelphia just can't seem to figure that one out late. I mean, it was just a really nice placed amplification matrix. They're able to get the early kills on it, and all you need is 1 or 2 on the offense. The defense got that salty run back time from all the way in your back spawn. And the new additions for this team have looked very, very strong for the Toronto Defiant. Again, we're looking towards next year. God's being kind of timid, hiding under his hat here, but he's a guy that we talk about him in Logic so often, but Gods is extremely versatile. He plays the Hog, he plays the Diva, has played support at the professional level, has played DPS at the professional level, has been around since Overwatch was in existence, and has mastered a great deal of heroes. So it's always nice to have a guy on your team that can play everything.
I was just waiting for you to go down the list as well. He's played tank at a professional level. He coached at a professional level.
Well,
and he also robbed at a professional level, because right now he looks like a hoodlum. And Toronto Defiant currently stole that last map and are on their way perhaps to picking up a second one here. We're into the third map of the series, and this isn't too weak a map for the Defiant. 3-4, their record so far on King's Row. I mean, it's not a dominant one for Philly either, 4-2. I mean, it's still solid.
Right.
So, I mean, there is a chance here for Toronto Defiant to really turn things around and put the pressure on Philadelphia Fusion, who should be the favorite in this matchup.
You would think they'd be the favorite just based on their records up top here. Of course, Philadelphia 13-11, Toronto Defiant 8-16. Pretty much mathematically out of the playoffs, but there's still a chance, and you got to fight for that chance. Offensively, the Defiant will come out with Logics on the Hanzo and a May. Shark in trouble right now. Treat, rather.
He'll stay.
Back into it, though.
He'll survive it. But surprised to see Logic staying on the Hanzo. There we go. You gone fishing, and you're not going to throw that one back. Neko is a dead man, or Omnic, and Defiant beat a hasty retreat back to spawn while they wait for it. There we go. Oh, they're trying with the May wall. You got Mangachu who's trying to save his teammates, but that's not even a fault of the Defiant, really. apart from just hang even further back. Don't even get within range of the halls.
3 hooks, 100% accuracy so far.
Man, he is so good.
For Poco.
That takes some skill.
Well, I mean, the halts help. The numbers are going to be inflated.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You can't trust anything anymore, Hex.
It's a nice defensive wall. They use a lot of resources on that one. This is going to be a small window for Toronto to come in because the sleep dart is down, the hook is down.
Thinking about it. Yeah. They get rid of the lantern fairly quickly there. And now Logic's really wanting to find Carpe. If he can catch Carpe looking the wrong way. Yep, sure enough. Body shot coming in from Carpe though, and Carpe wins the duel, hands down. Bionade went down at the same time on the Toronto Defiant, so the Gods and Aid had to back off, and now Carpe gets to just have so much fun here. Trying to pad his stats, pick off targets that are already dead instead of going after fresh ones. Shame on you, Carpe. But so far, the Philly Fusion are going to hold. A tick of permanent progress picked up for the Defiant.
Hooks have been better. Maybe they can just piecemeal this together, but right now it is all the Philadelphia defense here sitting at 8 final blows compared to the 1 final blow of Toronto Defiant. Our nice set nade actually gets the Zen anti-heal as he walks out of spawn, but that's all right. Not going to slow him down too much. Do they try a different route here? Is it a hotel rotation time? That seems like it'd be disastrous, to be honest.
Why are you peeking if you know you can see through walls? That's kind of my question there. Bit of a questionable play there from Logix. Mangachu pays for it as well. Perfect Blizzard gets thrown in, and it's just a field day here for the Philadelphia Fusion. 2 ults used. I mean, that's one thing that the Philly Fusion have going for them on the defense. It seems like they are able to get more done when it comes to pacing out their ultimates. Offense, still a little squeaky.
A lot of value.
But yeah, they're getting max value.
But, I mean, the offense haven't blown ultimates because they haven't really had them yet. I think that they're staying on this composition, at least for the moment, to maybe try to clear out the hotel, maybe get a Blizzard on the other side, because you've got the Dragon, you've got the Blizzard. These are zone control ultimates that should at least buy you space, but you still have to worry about Carpe.
Shield is up, and there we go. Windows in. Aid setting up his ultimate. Neptune counters with one of his own, however. The field, Immortality field, is down for the Philadelphia Fusion, so nobody's going to be dying. It does get picked. Overcharger, just all the ults getting paced out here on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, taking their time with it. Boombox gets frozen, however, and he is going to die to the Dragon. We need the Philadelphia Fusion to turn it around quick. Poco with the whole hog just going at it. He's going to find one. Shriek is out. Main takedown for the Toronto Defiant. No barrier to hide behind now. Can't say the same for Philadelphia Fusion. They've got Sato. And this is Philadelphia Fusion look like they're going to stabilize.
Yeah, they should be able to stabilize right here at 96%. Neko was able to use Transcendence against the Whole Hog, but that Whole Hog from Poco bought them all the positioning they had lost. Another halt and hook, but Immortality Field keeps them alive.
Yeah, that field, nightmare for any damage dealer, nightmare for anybody looking for a kill. You got to get rid of it first. Clever positioning there for the Bongo is going to try and really max the value on it. Mangachu, though, will fall. And now you're getting flanked out by an Orisa. An Orisa on a flank. Seen it all, Hex.
You can't hear the hooves?
Can't hear the hooves, exactly.
Gods with a really late stagger here. They're letting him live. Make no mistake about that one. And now the best bet that Toronto has on this offense is to try to drop a window from Aid and put as much damage through it as possible. But Blizzard's going to be dropped. Can't even get there. 96%, I believe, is where they stopped. And Philadelphia Fusion bounced back 21 final blows to 3.
To 3. Poco is also there. You know, he's looking around. He's like a cat and cream right now. You know, just so happy. Look at him. That's a happy Frenchman. Look at the grid.
Yeah, got himself on that Roadhog. Got a lot of those opening kills for his squad. So his flexibility not in question for them. See if Philadelphia can wrap up Kings when we return.
So, the Defiant, well, they better live up to their name, Hex, because they've got a bit of a road ahead of them on the defense. They need to get a hard hold because the Philadelphia Fusion didn't even let them get the first point.
But some progress, I suppose. There's a silver lining here in your Toronto Defiant chances. 96.4% is what they were able to put on the board, but Poco put on a bit of a show there. And that's what I think Philadelphia is going to benefit from, is that Poco and Sato play together for a very long time, so you're able to coordinate halt and hooks very easily. And they just stopped Toronto's fights before they ever even started. And then they had their economy being patient, where they'd only use a Blizzard and get 6 kills. They weren't overcommitting to things. Toronto, on the other side of things, were just trying to bank up ultimates and just hope for the miracle plays and unable to get it done.
Oh, Sato definitely just sacked himself there. That was instant death. It wasn't painful. He was gone before he knew it. And, well, that's the wipe of the push.
I mean, this King's Row offensive push options are so limited. You actually used to see a lot of Mei on this map because the wall is so good at this pretty much one entrance point. And even if you don't want to hold at the one entrance point, there's an artificial choke on either side of the statue as well.
Yeah, that's exactly. So you can get those walls down. We've seen a lot of it here. Yep, there it is. Mangachu, great timing on that wall. We do get the lantern down. Will be immediately removed by Poco. Seems like that's his job. When the lantern's up, he is the one to eliminate it as quickly as possible so that they can find kills. Carpe gonna get hooked in. Doesn't care. He will survive for now. But it is Logix who's running amok, just finding kill after kill here for the Toronto Defiant. Oh, Carpe cuts him off. No escape right there. Walls all over the place. And they're still on the point.
That's the aggressive new Shadow Step. It goes a little quicker. You can get up there a little faster. Actually surprise people, which was its intended ability. Finally maybe balanced up to that point, but all for naught. Carpe's going to get a couple of exit kills. And there's no Lucio on the field to bring back some of these members, so Gods is going to be late to this party.
He's got a long way to stomp his way back in here.
And there is a Lucio for Philadelphia, so maybe this is the window where you just go in. Yep. But I think it's too small to really risk it. No, you want to set up properly.
I think, yeah. Oh, well, never mind. Ha! Neptuno's dead. They're going to get the follow-up as well, perhaps on Sato. Boombox out in the open right now. But you've lost Carpe, and they tried. I think you're right, Hex. I think they tried to get in there quick, to capitalize on Gods having to run back from spawn, and they end up paying for it with their lives. Billy, just building ults. That Mei wall is so frustrating for Divas as well. You really just got nowhere to go.
You can fly over it sometimes, but not when there's that low ceiling in there. We're below 2 minutes. Philadelphia's made 0 progress on this point, so now a full hold does not seem out of the realm of possibility.
Are we seeing Volskaya again here? Is this what's going on?
Well, Mei used to be listed as a defensive hero, right? Now everything is damage. But, I mean, there's a reason she's really good at defense.
Logix, you're going to have to wake up here, buddy. Start hitting those shots. And looking for it. Big Tank's in the way. Does connect there. And now we're going to have Gods throwing in the whole hog. Knows that there's a flank coming, but Sato's had his head removed by Logix. Carpe on a flank up top, but he's going to get focused down. Carpe not in this fight. And what, I mean, you're going to have Ikyo trying to make the play. Sure, he got the freeze on Gods. Sure, you're doing something there, but you got no follow-up when the team is dead.
Clutch play from Neko there. That Blizzard could have changed everything. Neko gets to his Transcendence, able to use it to keep everybody alive, healed up. Now we're below a minute.
And they used a lot.
They had to use several things. They don't really have great setup. Sato continues to find early picks that just Logix continues to find early picks that just demoralize you.
Yeah, Sato keeps dying first. That's really hurting Philadelphia Fusion here.
Sato into Sato. Philadelphia does have the Death Blossom, and they also have a self-destruct. We've seen Poco win games single-handedly before with self-destructs. A little bit more difficult in this meta to find the perfect angles.
Oh, what was that? Venom Mine triggered, and we will have Impresight on soon. This is an adjustment here from Toronto Defiant, getting the supports along with Logix on top. The Logix isn't alone. Sound barrier used by Philadelphia Fusion for the push, and Poco's there to try and watch his buddies max with the D-Matrix. Carpe looking for an angle. He's got no way out now. Needs to get this, and it needs to be clean, and he is not going to find any kills. God's there to help him along to the end of the world, and well, he got a couple kills coming back with the Philly Fusion, but the Toronto Defiant are holding, and with the window down, there's too much damage. They won't get it done, Hex. Not even a single tick picked up for the Philadelphia Fusion on the offense. The hard hold for the Toronto Defiant, the full lockdown.
Neko finish it off with 3 eliminations. None more impressive than when EQO got to his side. That's a 1v1 that they put Neko in a rough spot. He hits the shots as Zen and cleans it up.
Nodding along. Yep, that's right, boys. You're getting the job done here. 2-1 over the Philadelphia Fusion. We will have map 4 of the series coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Special attack. Cease your resistance. Gale the
Pass into the iris.
Had a bit of an exciting time there on London. I was going to go for a shock, but I mean, that's San Francisco. You can't really use it if you have a name and all that sort of stuff. But the Toronto Defiant getting the hard lock on London. So sick to see Kings Row just being their home turf now, almost, it feels like. With how good that looks.
And everybody has had some great standout plays, and this is the one I really think of too, because EQO just went for the challenge. Went for the challenge on a poor defenseless Zenyatta. He gets in there, takes down EQO, cleans up, reestablishes dominance. I think a lot of people forgot about how good Neko can be on these. He also probably saved his team in the fight prior to that by getting Transcendence up in the nick of time to defend against Blizzard. So there's been a lot of standout plays. And I keep hitting this because Toronto, yeah, your season's probably over, playoff-wise.
0.38% chance, Hex, of making top 12.
I mean, yeah.
And you win out from here. You got nothing to lose.
You got nothing
to lose.
Play spoilers set up for next year. Sell some jerseys in the offseason with some great play here. And so far, it's just been all defense all day. Defiant 1-0 on Volskaya. There's 2 points on that map, by the way. At least 2 points. Defiant 1-0 on Kings Row. Don't always see that happen. The hard hold after they get held. But they put up more percentage. And we'll see. This is a bit of an upset in the making.
I'm loving it for the Toronto Defiant. If they can get the job done, if they can actually lock it down and win 3-1 versus Philadelphia Fusion, who were supposed to be the clear favorites coming into this, and that's going to be a cause for concern here for Philadelphia Fusion and the fans.
Philadelphia has everything to play for right now. They can move up a bunch of spots in the playoffs, right? They're at a decent ranking here. And Toronto Defiant, you know, we keep hitting the number, but 0.38% to make the playoffs, and they look like the hungrier team. Or maybe they're the looser team. You know, sometimes that'll help you out too.
Loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Loosey-goosey.
Hey guys, let's just have fun up there. Let's play our best, you know?
You know, Gods, he came in real serious face, you know? A little bit of the taquito going there. But then he started loosening up, and I even saw a grin get cracked on his visage at the end of the last map, along with Shriek, Shriek has just been going ham the entire time, so.
It's nothing to say.
Visage.
Your French is showing. All right, offensively, looks like we're going to have Logix on the Widow, Mangachu on the Mei. Mangachu's been on pretty much Mei all day, and you can see why. He's just very comfortable and familiar with this hero. He's played it before. I mean, there was times, especially in the contender scene, where you could play heroes that weren't being played at the out level. And now you're seeing a lot of these guys come in from those scenes with different specialties than everybody else.
Showing what's possible and actually adding some depth to the rosters. So Carpe looking for the flank. That's exactly what he needs to do. Beautiful work. Now Carpe finally waking up. EQO getting eliminated though isn't going to help things. That's a 1-for-1 trade on the damage. And so Toronto Defiant have a shorter way to run. Carpe, there's a lantern. You gotta shoot the lantern first or you're not going to kill anything.
How did he get Infrasight up that quick? Carpe's done 2,000 damage in the brief time we've been on this map.
He's had 1 kill, so I mean, it's not something to crow about here, Hex.
Fair enough.
I'm just putting it down there, just saying, hey, you know, you can get all the damage you want, but if you're not getting kills, if you're not bringing back scalps for Aldo the Apache, it doesn't matter. All right, in it, let's see, Mangachu. Lobbing icicles left and right, and so far they are very spread out here, Philadelphia Fusion, quite a bit, and it's making it difficult here for the supports to keep their guys up, because we do get a D-Mech here for Poco. Sato's going to get nailed, and that is going to be it. Philadelphia Fusion will collect the first point.
Well, Philadelphia...
Toronto Defiant, yeah.
They will give up the first point.
There
Philadelphia was trying to utilize the double sniper setup of having 1 sniper on either side and then just kind of having a shooting gallery in the middle. Toronto just said, okay, we're going to put up this wall, kill all your tanks, and then I don't really care how much damage you're doing on either side over here.
We'll thread the needle. We'll just go straight through. That's fine. Hey, Logix is he's doing all right. He's at 2 final blows right now. That's twice as many as Carpe has, Hex. I'll let you do the math. So, I mean, and EQO not really chiming in too much either. We're seeing him on the Hanzo, not on the Mei. I mean, so that's exciting stuff. We get to see an EQO on Hanzo, but so far he's struggling to come up with the goods.
Also, Mangachu's gonna have the Blizzard. Logix can't do anything right now. He had just used Infrasight. Carpe now counters his Infrasight, so the rest of his team is just going to try to go forward here, hiding behind the distillery.
I mean, if you can't peek right now, I almost want to see Logix just push that payload instead of dancing around. And Mangachu getting caught like this by Carpe is not going to help things. So, some sloppy play coming in here from Toronto.
Still not over yet. Trading out with their Widow players here. But the res comes in for EQO, but Logix takes down Carpe. This one's not over.
No. Ooh, that was the opportunity. Does he get the shot? He's hitting bodies, but he's not hitting heads. You need to click heads, Logix.
But he's forcing them to send people in after him right now, though. The Valkyrie is already committed. It might be time to reset here for Toronto. Go back in when you have Blizzard up and ready to go. But not in position to do it right now. Don't get over ambitious here. I mean, that's the thing that can be so devastating when you have a Widow who's like hitting a couple shots in a row. Then you're like, okay, everybody go! And then something happens. Like, wait, everybody back!
Retreat. Oh, dragging through. He's got eyes on him. A lot of damage, but Logix again drops Carpe. Logix right now, he is the more dominant Widow. He's getting more done, Hex. Except the 5 final blows. Carpe's still sitting on 2. There's the headshot. If it weren't for the boost, that's a dead EQO, and it's looking like he's going to be gone anyway. Aiden there to capitalize, and now you just got Logix. He's going to run game on him. He's got nothing here to worry about.
Yeah, it's a dead Blizzard. Poco comes in and is able to get his job done, but he will be rewarded with a D-Mac, and all is set and done. Now just putting a little more pressure on Carpe, and Logix has gotten the better of this one for the last several minutes. Toronto takes second point.
Yeah, what fantastic work here from Logix. Really stepping up in terms of individual Widow play. Carpe just vanishing into the distance. Carpe at 2. Logix at 7.
Let's keep it going.
And this is the thing, when you're running Widow, you need to have an impact. You need to get kills. Yes, when the Widow's on the map, it forces teams to play differently. But if you're not getting kills, you're just not bringing enough to the table here.
All about the final blow numbers. Carpe will get another one to add to his meager total thus far. More importantly, Logix is ahead right now if you want to track along at home. 3-1 in the straight-up Widow duel.
Poco. Hey! Nope.
Yes, he got a destructible.
I believed it for a second. I believed it for a second that he was going to catch him in the open, but didn't happen there, Poco. It's been a while since we've seen the big Poco bombs. Got to take risks sometimes, I suppose. Logix that time, it's going to cost him 2 headshots there for Carpe. Looking for more as well, now that he doesn't have to worry about Logix on the field. Go ahead and just take shots all he wants. Mangachu attempting the long-range icicles, but Carpe's at full HP, so he doesn't have anything to worry about.
Still got a nice little dome on him though. Wall is going to help them try to make some progress here, but there's an enormous anti-heal that goes down. More people cut him in that anti-heal. Immortality field out.
Oh, Logix! The Blizzard working wonders. Caught in the open, nowhere to go, and this is going to be a lot of progress picked up now for Toronto Defiant. Nice attempt there from Poco to delay a little bit, but not meant to be, buddy.
That just made me sad to watch.
Neko with the headshot. All right.
That always feels good. As the Zen, you're a great target for the Widowmaker because your movement ability is, well, non-existent. So Neko to be able to get that volley on opens up a lot of space here.
See it. Trust your angle. This is another thing with snipers. You gotta believe. Trust your angle that you're gonna get the goods. Well, they just want to give it away. Yep, that's it. What? All right, gets the follow-up. How was that not a kill? Missed the detail there.
Well, they knew where Carpe was because they walled him off to make sure that Carpe couldn't be in that fight. But then when the wall expired, Carpe just comes out, hits a couple of heads. This is a reset for Toronto here.
Yep. Minute 43 on the clock, and Toronto, yep, going to get staggered out. Not fully charged, I suppose, the shot, but that is frustrating for Logix, who's so patient. Thought that would just be one and done.
It's a late kill on an Echo, but it's not really going to slow anything down. Let's take a look at the ultimate economy, or lack thereof. Boombox, the only one holding. Shark can get there, maybe. Neko can get there, maybe. Should be, actually.
Yeah,
be surprised if they didn't get there. Pretty even on the infra sites right now, but a couple key shots can change that and really shift the duel in your favor. Being able to see a wall when you're playing against another Widowmaker, pretty big advantage.
Oh, so frustrating. Come on, Carpet, you gotta get those. So hard to hit these shots with the way that the hitboxes, the movement alters the trajectory of your target. Moving on through, and we are gonna get the Toronto Defiant now up to the arch. Hard hold attempt is going to come in here from Philadelphia Fusion. They need to stop the payload here. Sato dropping dangerously low. Maywall has been used though, so he's going to have a chance to breathe. And now once again, flanking Widow on the side of Logix. Logix missing the shots this time though. Not going to make it happen, but that's drawing attention to himself, and that might create an opening here for his team. They try to pounce on Sato. Sato somehow survives it though, and we'll get the wall down, but still, Gods will eventually catch out one tank. We're trading them back and forth. Looking for the follow-up on EQO, but EQO hanging out.
EQO is going to try to wait and throw in Blizzard last second here if his team needs it.
Well, now they don't even need it. It's done. Not a hope, not a prayer here for the Toronto Defiant. 5 seconds on the clock. Logix and Mangachu, the only two alive, and the rest of them are going to try and roll their way through. Sherrick is going to be, but just can't touch the payload in time. So, 2 points, nearly 3 picked up for the Toronto Defiant on the offense.
Well, when you have these escort maps, they get a little bit more closed in the further down you go on these maps. And you know what May really likes? It's a closed-in single entrance for a team to try to get in. You can see the trepidation of Toronto even trying to move through there. Mangachu needed to set a wall that would allow them to go through and establish a point, but then you're down wall and the other team has wall. So it's all these kind of crazy mind games. But you get to that last point, and you pretty much can just cut a team in half if they try to walk through. Toronto never really ran the Lucio to try to get them through that. They were relying on other support heroes. So all in all, a pretty good push. And look, this Toronto defense has looked unbeatable today. So I think they're in a good spot for Havana.
Yes, somebody give Mangachu a high five or a hug right now. He's looking a little too concerned. A little too much stress there going on. You guys are doing well here. You're in the lead. You nearly picked up 3. There's a long way ahead of Philadelphia Fusion here to take this to a map 5. And well, I think Mangachu right now is feeling a little frustrated because he didn't quite balance out versus EQO. EQO 5 final blows, Mangachu 1. So Logix was making up for the difference. But if he could step up, maybe that's what makes a difference, and they collect 3 points on that offense. So now we're going to have a bit of a change though, Hex. We're actually going to get some Pharah play here, so that's fun. We haven't seen that so far this series.
This is brave, and I think the only reason they can even consider running this is that there's an area behind this spawn that's not super accessible to most heroes, because you're not going to run this in front of Carpe, right?
Well, Carpe's been missing a lot of shots, so maybe that's what's going on here.
That's fine, but there's a whole rooftop that you can abuse up here with the Pharah and Mercy. Or not.
Or not. Or Mangachu just dies. You may be able to get the res off here, though. I mean, certainly. No, it's not going to happen. No res possible. Aid is back with the rest of his team. Logix already getting chased away. That's Sharrick down as well, and falling apart completely here on the side of the Toronto Defiant. So much so that they aren't even going to stay on the Pharah. They just swapped it straight over. So that was just Neko sacking himself. I mean, Carpe hits the flashy shot, but that was definitely the respawn call coming in from Toronto Defiant. Yeah, this is Carpe. That's just, yeah, super solid. Manga wasn't even looking at him.
I mean, you're trying to get a lot of splash damage early on and maybe hit a giant concussive blast so that you can knock somebody into position on the rest of your team, but not going to happen there. Carpe hits the double tap in the sky off of the grapple shot. And I don't like the composition because now you've set yourself back a little bit, especially just in Mangachu having the ultimate.
Yeah.
Echo out no man's land again.
Okay, is Carpe just waking up now? He's tired of the shenanigans.
That's how Widow is, man.
It is the duel. It's the 1v1 duel. This time Carpe wins it.
Is that a sign of confidence, though, that Carpe's going for the close headshots and Logix is on the SMG mode?
I'm wondering. Because, I mean, if you had it, if you believed in yourself, you would be taking the shots. But instead, it's Mangachu trying to buy a little bit of time here, but it's just not meant to be. A quick first point picked up here from Philadelphia Fusion on the offense, and a whole lot of an advantage as well on their side with those 4 check marks. They're about to have 5 as well. Neptuno going to get the wings in a moment. So, Philly, they've got everything going their way now. Question of whether they can keep their cool and get it done. Carpe certainly caught up. Actually, he's taking the lead in terms of final blows. So he's at 13. Logix at 12. Logix didn't get anything on that defense first point.
And that's got to be confident too, because Logic's now going to go over to the Hanzo. A Hanzo Mei composition here on the defense. Mangachu has the Blizzard, which can win you a fight single-handed. On the other side, you do have to worry about Poco.
Dragging right on through. Is that going to create anything? Doesn't look like it. I mean, just buying a little bit of time, it seems. But still, Logix is still managing to do a little bit of damage here, so we'll see what he's capable of. There it is. Carpe with the headshot, and Poco finally getting a self-destruct kill. This is entirely shifting the way of Philadelphia Fusion now, Hex. They are running away with it in terms of kills. And while just pushing through, the payload's hardly stopped.
Nope, they were just getting it. And they're not having to use a ton of ultimates there, too. So Ikkyo used the Dragon to try to vacate this upper room to the right now where the cart is. A couple people have to go on the ground, the shield gets dropped, and then Poco just puts the bomb right behind the shield. Rocking a hard place, and you lose a couple people.
Yeah, where are you gonna go, buddies? The answer is 6 feet, straight down. So, got the shields in, barriers are there. Carpe on the flank, and now he gets to see through walls as well.
They're going to be able to crack their shields here with the damage boost, but that's nice to take down Carpe with that shield down. A lot of Defiant was going to be in trouble. Res out.
Whoa, Philly really wanted to win this fight. They really wanted to just get around this point and force the Toronto Defiant back to their spawn, but instead, they've used everything, and they've hardly gotten any progress at all. Real opportunity here for Toronto Defiant to put up a fight and stop this payload. They have the man advantage. They have to keep it tight. Still with the barrier there on Shriek, and he is going to get topped up. There's Mangachu with the Blizzard, hoping to catch him out, but quick footwork here from Philadelphia Fusion keeps them out of harm's way.
They're going to back out here, and the reason that Philadelphia commits so much to that push is it can be a nightmare for the offense to even get out of spawn now. You see them backing all the way around. These are not where you want to spawn. You want to spawn right outside the door and get some progress on the payload, and it's because of the design of the map that allows the defenders to hold so far forward that Philadelphia really wanted to engage in that. Yes, they are spawning right there, but the defenders usually have the better geography to work with.
Indeed, they do. Hold in, let's go, find that kill, and yep, lays them out. Boombox and Sato both sent back to spawn, and this is actually just falling apart here as far as the Philadelphia Fusion are concerned. They've got 3 minutes 40 on the clock still, so there's no reason to get too excited, but the Toronto Defiant, they're looking good.
A lot of time, and Toronto's won the last couple fights and have been able to keep their economy in pretty solid shape. 2 support ultimates and a Whole Hog here. I want to see Whole Hog with Amplification Matrix because I think it's disgusting in the best kind of way. In Philadelphia, maybe it has to send a Dragon through. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Ooh, God, awkward spot. Halted into it as well, but he's got a breather and he's got the Frisbee as well. Nice deletion there of the boombox, and Gaunt's so far doing a good job of keeping the pressure up. He's still held onto the Whole Hog, and this could get filthy depending if he's going to get the support from his team, and that's what they were waiting for. A pick from Philadelphia Fusion, the flanking Hanzo, EQO, coming up with it once again.
And this has forced out several ultimates from Toronto. They used 3 in response to that kill.
So frustrating here for EQO, trying to connect with shots, and nobody's even really paying attention to the guy. So now, finally, they're going out, but there is a Dragon ready for it. He could decide to put it through if he wanted to. He's looking for a clever angle if he has to, but they're going to go down anyway. Still, remarkable amount of time burnt off the clock here by the Toronto Defiant. The defense looking very good. 2.5 minutes, and this, we've seen it. It really took Defiant a long time to even make it through this archway.
Yeah.
2 minutes on the clock isn't a whole lot of time here for Philadelphia Fusion to play with.
Carpe used Impresight, Logic's waited it out about 5 to 10 seconds, then used his own. But another Dragon comes through, takes down 2. Toronto definitely on the back foot right now. Gotta get picks from Logix, but Logix switches off. Logix on Tracer right now, because they have to get somebody near the payload.
You need a contest, but they're trying to hold the doors like bouncers. Who's got ID? Mangachu. He's gonna go down already. Carpe with the follow-up on Neko. They're down 2 already, 3, and trying to find falling apart. And it is looking like we're going to get that 5th map here, Hex. Who's gonna contest the point? The answer is no one. We're going the distance. We're going back to control.
So it was written, so it was foretold. Map number 5 on its way out now, to the surprise of absolutely no one. But our first control map was actually pretty close between these two teams.
It was, exactly, but Philadelphia Fusion, they took it. So let's see, do they have what it takes, the Toronto Defiant, to go to map 5 and win it all? Hex, it was written, and so it shall be. We always get the map 5s, and especially when it's Philadelphia Fusion.
You knew it coming into it, but you know, we had some really short maps earlier, so it's fine. Now no one's as exhausted. Everyone should be fresh on that stage as well. But we talked so much about the stakes for both these teams. Yeah. Less for Toronto. You know, a very small chance to make the playoffs. Philadelphia,
38% chance to make top 12.
Philadelphia needs this one. They've been on the struggle here. Our very first control, yes, it went 2-0 Philadelphia, but it was a lot closer than that looked, and maybe now Toronto can go back and figure it out. But here we go. Here's how we got here. the Defiant just pretty much holding strong on defense on Volskaya and Kings. Havana went the way of Philadelphia, but that was a little bit close as well.
I wonder if it was nerves. I wonder if it was nerves for Toronto Defiant. Once they start getting close, you know, the first win, maybe it goes their way, cool, but it's still Philly. The second one, oh buddy, starting to get close. Now you got to get the job done, and you can't do it.
It just seemed like, especially halfway through of Havana, that they were having a difficult time resetting and kind of stopping, staggering. Then they reestablish at that third point where it begins, and then it just kind of all fell apart. But this could be close. We're on Busan. Fusion 4-4, Defiant 4-4. First one to capture 2 rounds of Busan. We'll take it for all the marbles here.
The glory!
In our 5th and final control map. I mean, is it glory or is Philadelphia trying to prevent, collapsing against our 18th ranked team? It's a whole new meta for Toronto. They get to play heroes that they're really good at.
Listen, it's glorious if they avoid the shame of defeat versus exactly the 18th team. That's you gotta take what glory you can at this point if you're Philadelphia Fusion Hex. It's been a bit of a rough ride for him. Carpe's back on the Reaper. Looking to get up close and personal, rearrange faces with shotguns. And
it's really interesting to see the hero selection here because Logic struggled on their first map as Reaper. Went to Doomfist at some point in time, but I think this one is the right call. Just let Logic's play Widow.
Those Mei walls can just be so ridiculous. Just closing the door on him. You saw it just there. We're actually done with you for now. We're going to go ahead and put some pressure on the point. So Maywall goes up, just cuts Philadelphia Fusion off at the knees. Poco doing the best he can to survive. You want to keep that mech, but he will get D-Max now, and this is that you don't have any more big bodies if you're Philadelphia Fusion. So it will be the Toronto Defiant eventually grinding these guys down.
Yeah, no one has control of the point, so it's kind of interesting that they tried to retake that for Philadelphia Fusion, donating some HP to the human fund.
Good job on Poco.
But I think this is really important because Logic's got out Reaper in our first control map. I think that was pretty obvious. And then he went to Doomfist and it was like, okay, it's doing something more than your Reaper was. But now I think Logic's being able to play the Widow, or maybe if he comes back on a McCree, even a Tracer, are just better heroes for him right now.
True.
You don't have to be a slave to the meta. In fact, I don't think you should be. But we're good. We get Chengdu later.
Exactly. Chengdu it, Hex. Just Chengdu it. You can see through walls now, so Philadelphia Fusion, if you peek, you're in for a rough time. Many headshots will happen. Logic's not missing too many of those so far. There is the Blizzard sneaks it through just before the D-Matrix. Gonna clear a little bit of that point, and it's gonna set it up for Boombox and Carpe to get laid low. Dodge has gotta be careful, but he will get topped up by Aid. Good support there. And while it is going to be the Toronto Defiant holding on to the point for now. They picked up first control, they're at 45% and climbing.
D-Mac comes in late. Complete cleanup for Toronto Defiant. Had to use a couple things, but not that big of a deal. Going to be able to get everybody back at full fighting force here to come in. Philadelphia's been banking ultimates, though. Whether on purpose or by virtue of losing people very early and not wanting to commit to it.
They don't want you to point that out, Hex.
Wow, they're going to.
Yes, it is.
Totally,
that one.
totally
the first
intentional.
one.
Totally intentional.
The first one.
Now they got 5. They're just trying to find their way in because they've been walled off at every turn, and then you got to worry about where's Logic's, what angle does he have. They're looking indecisive at the moment. They're checking for Logic's over there. He's not there, so they're going to drop it.
Very well, Logic's got the angle. Sound barrier's down. Now you can see through walls. He's going to get pressured by Neptuno, but fine. That's all right. Going to be a tough job there for Neptuno to find the kill, especially if Logic takes your head off. So Neptuno is gone. Eventually, Yu-Gi-Oh finds that, but that is so many resources committed to just taking out the Widowmaker that the rest of the Philadelphia Fusion are all dying on the point.
A little bit of trouble. Blizzard's going to go in just for good measure because you're at 99. Can't take it with you.
Oh, and this is going to fall apart now. EQO going to try and buy a little bit more time here with the contest. Yep, ice block goes off. Poco's here. He gets D-Mech, and they are slowly running back in. Sato is now joined the fray as the main tank. He's going to get the overcharger down, but what working? I mean, it balances out. We got bongos on both sides. And there is a fresh mech for Poco. Can they actually win this out? Boombox will beam down Mangachu. And Carpe now going to be on the flank. Unbelievable. Philadelphia Fusion at the very end will win out and flip the point. 99% for the Toronto Defiant. This is exactly the opposite of how it played out on the first map.
Some really clutch play there from EQO. And you can tell it because he threw down his Blizzard. Now has 75% again. But the pressure never gets to EQO. Boombox towards the end here gets the coalescence on the cleanup, keeps everybody alive and healthy. Getting those low HP targets on the Moira, burns through shields as well.
Just remarkable aim. Really tracking him there.
Logic's has gone to the McCree. Again, I think these are right choices. His McCree and his Widow are his best heroes.
Get on the comfort picks. He's got the flashbang as well. Could ruin Carpe if Carpe tries to work his way through. Let's see. Carpe's got the Blossom. He's looking for the squishies, and he is going to focus it, just trying to burn down gods. But we had it. The field is enough to make the difference. Carpe goes down, still 2 kills. The tanks are dead for the Toronto Defiant.
The tanks are dead for the Defiant, but both damage are dead for Philadelphia Fusion. So now the question is, do you feel comfortable trying to go in on this? I think the Toronto should be pressuring this a little bit more, but they're just going to back off and reset here. I think I would have committed a support ultimate maybe, but...
They got to sleep on Foco. There's an opening. Blizzard's going to go down right on top of him as well. Oh, the perfectly timed wall goes up from EQO. Clutch play on his side. Still, we're going to lose Poco. Logix gets traded. Mangachu is still alive here, and he gets that wall down, so that's going to buy him a little bit of time. Now needs to get on the point and needs to get some value here on the side of Mangachu. He's going to start feeling that pressure. We saw him. He looked a little tense earlier, but might cost him as Carpe is going to hunt down his main tank.
This has got to be nearing the last fight. The question is, does Toronto think they can get out and then get back in alive? I don't think it's a risk I'd want to take. Nearing 90% for Philadelphia. Gods has to switch to D.Va, Shark to the Hammond just to get back on here and touch. And Philly is nearing some really important ultimates. Blizzard and Death Blossom should be up.
They need to touch it. They're not even going to be able to do that. Shark, he was caught off on the side there by Neptuno, it looks like. So he was rolling around, off cooldown, couldn't quite get there. And unfortunately, Gods couldn't make it in time either. So the Philadelphia Fusion, exact opposite.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's the exact opposite of how our first control went. I think it's, and this Defiant team, maybe a lack of leadership, a lack of confidence. There was that fight where it was 4v4, and he had just killed both of Philadelphia's damage dealers.
Yeah.
And that's what we always think about when we think about Philadelphia. Now, it's not comfortable to push into tanks, because you just lost both of your tanks. But I think those are kind of the risks you want to take. And what do you really have to lose right now if you're Defiant? You don't want to get in bad playstyles and habits, I get that. But it's 4v4, maybe see if your guys can clutch. Maybe throw in a nano somewhere in there. It builds pretty quick, but all that said and done, round 2 of our 5th and final map, Philly looking to lock it up.
Really looking good. Walls are going down already. EQ out, just going to slow things down. No fun allowed. If you're on the May, you don't get to play the game. You get to be an observer like the rest of us. And it's looking like first control for Philadelphia Fusion here. Unless there's an answer, it doesn't look like it. They're going to have to wait for their tanks to get back into this.
You can't really try to go in when you lose your main tank like that. You're just going to be smashing into a shield. Unless you feel you can crack the shield and you have really good knowledge of the cooldown, you're just giving up 5 bodies into the other team's ults.
Time to raise my APM.
So, what is the correct play here for Toronto Defiant? They've gone with Logix on McCree immediately this time. So we will have him working his way up to it, but the flashbang not easy and trying to slow things down. Not going to be enough though. Boombox blazing away with the Coalescence, melting everybody with the beam of light.
You know what's nuts about this map so far is that Philadelphia, just in the last minute or so, has gotten 7 kills. And overall map, they're still trailing Final Blows. Just efficiency.
By 1, to be fair, by 1. But yeah, it is efficient. It's when Carpe and EQO can start working together.
Yeah.
They can actually start getting some damage on the board, and it starts shaping up.
It means they've won the previous point 14-22 in Final Blows.
So now, how does it pan out here? Because finally, Toronto Defiant are actually able to see the points, let alone get on it to try and contest and try to flip it. But never mind, Neptuno chucking them onto the tracks. They're gone, they're done, they're out of it. I mean, the Defiants are fighting back. EQ and Neptuno pay for it.
Are they going to reset? Mangachu almost dead and in a really odd spot here.
Die. Oh, man.
Oh, that's perfect. You're not going to reset? You're not going to reset? I'll reset you for you.
Yeah. Oblige him. And let's see it. Yep, we're going to get the replay here from Neptuno. This is pretty much the Lucio wet dream. Just chuck him off the side. Love and life. Great times. And Neptuno, he fulfilled his purpose.
A dream right into the water right there. And Neko is going to have boost going back for this, and they have to use it. They have to use it right now, 99% going forward.
Into it, and now Coalescence is there. What's going to happen next as far as the play? Logix with the double to open it up. Logix with the triple, and they get the flip. Hex It's almost as if this is how it's meant to be. You get to 99% right now. It's our turn to hold.
Yeah. You get to lose the fight once you get to 99%, and then you have to figure out how do we win one final fight if they can. Toronto Defiant holding on for dear life here, trying to force us to a round 3 on Busan. Philadelphia going into this next one. I mean, Neptuno's got barrier. You can toss in this self-destruct if you just want to kind of open things up, create some space.
I mean, Logic's right now is just blinking away. He's nearly got another one on High Noon online again, but they're going to go boosted right straight in. Sound barrier is there for Philadelphia Fusion, giving them that bonus HP to work with. Now you got Poco with the self-destruct. You should get a fresh mech off the back of this, but he is going to die first before he gets into it. So man advantage now for Toronto, but they lose their main tank. That's not going to help things here for Toronto. No shield to hide behind now.
I feel like it's been an issue for Toronto all year. Oh my God!
Oh, there we go. Logic's coming up with the goods when it matters most. He's keeping his team in this. Neptuno's gone, and that is the Toronto Defiant.
That game sense. It might have been a call, it might have been communications, but he's looking completely somewhere else, and he's like, I feel death coming from above. Not today!
Not today. The double think. Logic's just feeling it right now. Glad to see him performing on stage once again. And now, let's see what's going on. Oh, just putting shots through. That's that, wrong place, wrong time. But we're at final fight sort of territory here for the Philadelphia Fusion. 79%. Somebody's on the point. Oh, that's going to be a fan. And that's a dead Carpe. No damage left here for Philadelphia, and they're going to retreat and hope that they can touch the point and go for a final fight.
Well, Blizzard is ready for EQO. It's just a matter of getting there on time. Got to wait for Neptuno to boost everybody in, and they're going to wait till the last final second so that Carpe can get back into this mix as well, be the follow-up for this Blizzard.
Wall is down. There's the High Noon. This is exactly what Logic wants. Get him in the open and find the kills. There's the one, and looking for the second as well. Logic eventually gets run over. It's all falling apart. Just like that, Philadelphia Fusion, they pounce and collect 3. Could be getting out of control here for Toronto to find Mangachu. Can he make the play? No, he gets overwhelmed by Carpe, and Carpe takes out Gods as well. The Philadelphia Fusion get the job done in 5. They take the win, 3-2 over the Toronto Defiant. And the Defiant, what a painful loss for this team. It looked so good for them at the middle of the series, but then Philadelphia Fusion, they found themselves.
Well, EQL wasn't having a great set today, but ice water in his veins, perhaps more than any other player, saved his best map for last. Got a couple of nice icicle kills that kept Philly in the very first round, able to get that Blizzard onto the point, even though lifting up Mangachu and lifting up Logix and dying to the Deadeye was not ideal. Still, Philadelphia, map 5. Name a more iconic duo.
Exactly, because we touched on this at the beginning of the series, Hex, going into it, where Philadelphia Fusion, this is their Achilles heel. They always play to the strengths of their opponents. It's almost always going to be 5, because they're almost always going to keep it close, and they're almost always going to play to the level of their opposition. And once again, we see that here, where Philadelphia Fusion just, hey, they wait until the very end. But we're going to go ahead and hand it over to Danny now for a winner's interview.
Everybody give it up for Carpe right here. Amazing job, amazing Widow, amazing Reaper. Great job today. Now, coming into today's match, Philadelphia Fusion was the team favorites. A lot of people thought that you guys are going to win, and you guys did. But I feel like Toronto gave you guys a run for your money. What do you think, what is it about Toronto that gave you guys a hard time in today's match? 오늘 경기 아무래도 많은 분들이 필퓨가 이길 거라고 예상은 했지만은 또 토론토도 굉장히 잘하는 팀이었고 좀 쉽게 이긴 경기는 아니었던 것 같아요. 좀 어떻게 해서 좀 많은 좀 왜 좀 힘들게 이기셨나요?
일단은 저희가 좀 많은 실수를 했던 것 같고 그리고 또 토론토가 토론토만의 색깔로 되게 잘해서 저희가 좀 힘들었던 것 같아요, 경기 내내.
Throughout the whole match, I believe our team, Philadelphia Fusion, made small mistakes, made a lot of small mistakes here and there. And also, Toronto Defiant, they are a good team. They have their own color, and they played their game really, really well. So that was why we had a hard time defeating them. Now, this year, this season, Grand Finals is going to be at Philadelphia, right? And you guys are still fighting for that spot in the playoffs. But what would it mean for you to go to Grand Finals in Philadelphia? 필라델피아 그랜드 파이널 들어가면은 좀 어떤 의미가 있을까요?
저희 홈 구장에서 결승전을 한 거기 때문에 진짜 엄청나게 큰 의미가 있을 것 같고 뉴욕에서 작년에 결승전을 했던 것보다 훨씬 더 기대되고 네, 그렇습니다.
Because it is going to be in Philadelphia, it's home turf, home ground for us. And just like last year when it was in New York, since this time it is Philly, I am more excited and it will be very, very meaningful. Alrighty, thank you so much, Carpe. Casters, back to you guys.
Oh, shoot. Okay, guys, we were trying to work on a number there at the end because coming into this series, Toronto Defiant had 0.38% chance of making it into the play-ins for the playoffs, top 12.
Still not mathematically eliminated.
So what is the number now, Hex? We're getting into like 0.03 repeating.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's getting out of hand, but Toronto Defiant, theoretically, there is still a chance.
One more loss and they're out, but the Toronto fans should still have things to build on and to go forward with. They do have a lot of good players on this team, but the winners are Philadelphia. I mean, it's got to be hard to be a Philadelphia fan. You got to take your heart medication. You got to make sure the cholesterol's low because otherwise you're going to run into issues.
I actually wonder if they just channel their EQOs now and it's all just emotions staying this here. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our Owned by HP player of the match. We did the interview with him earlier. It is going to be Carpe. And well, Carpe, he started out pretty cold. Got to give it to him. He started out cold, wasn't hitting his shots, looked a little shaky. Volskaya had almost no impact. But then as the series progressed, he started to come into his own and he started to dominate in the 1v1 versus Logic.
Which can be the nature of Widowmaker play, obviously. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold, but you have to have the confidence to stick with it. I like that when he was in the duels, he wasn't busting out the SMG or trying to hit melees. He's going for the headshots right there. Also, I think really important of note when it comes to this meta, yes, his Widow is good. Those are okay numbers, the critical accuracy. I've seen some better Widow play in my time, but the fact he's able to pick up Reaper and the way he did and still be able to play a good Reaper when you're going to see a lot of Reaper and Mei compositions and to be able to play a variety of heroes bodes well for someone who we thought as an MVP candidate last year.
Yeah, I mean, glad to see it. I mean, we had the all-star performance here, the 1v1 Widow. Didn't really see him get too deep in that either, so that was a bit of a shock. But glad to see that Carpe on stage where it matters most is here to win. Now, we're not done yet. We will be continuing with 2 more matches today. Vancouver Titans versus the Washington Justice will be coming up next, but that's it for us on Disney. We will continue to stream on Twitch and the ESPN app, so if you want to get into the action, guys, find us there. We're taking a quick break, and we'll be right back with more of the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Did you see the game last night? Sinatra's gonna get MVP this year.
There's no way Sinatra wins MVP.
What are you talking about? Have you been watching the same
Bumper
game?
has been so clutch for the Titans, putting up insane numbers.
I think you're both wrong. Jonak, still the MVP. Also, first match starts in an hour. See you there.
The real MVP is the Yada Chad Amon.